talked about it. The other thing I want to caution United fans about, because we keep saying, in title race, okay, the title race, you guys are 11 points off. Was it 9 points?
Yeah,
11
about
points
9
off of
points.
us. Is it 9? Oh, it's
No,
9.
I think it's 9 with the game
It's
in
9
hand.
points.
Actually,
It's
no,
9
you played
points.
the game in hand.
But after
yeah.
this weekend, it'll end up being 12, right?
I will start with Jeff. As an Arsenal fan, knowing that I don't want to jinx it, but it feels like United is beginning to, at the pace at which we're going, it looks like we're potentially joining the title race. What do you think about United potentially joining the title race with Arsenal and City? And also, what was your take on that game?
Yeah, it was a tough to wake up to, man. I'm not gonna lie. I set my alarm for 8:30, knowing I'm not gonna make the first half. I accepted that. Alarm went off, and I was like, "Oh, 0-0. Okay, maybe I should get up. There should be some interesting ending to it." And my goodness, boy, was it an interesting ending. Um, We're not gonna get into the details of it because I'm sure it's been beaten down enough. Was Rashford offside? Beginning, 2 stages of play, whatever. It was phenomenal. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Jeff, I actually want to get your take on the call for Bruno's goal. I want to get your take because the last podcast we had talked about the whole VAR decision making, especially after the World Cup finals. So, because I know we had talked about potentially refs being able to explain their decisions on the field,
Yep.
and especially when the calls are very subjective.
Yeah, and that was a clear, perfect example of it. That needed to be explained. Few refs have come out and said, no, two stages of play. I did completely disagree. Rashford was interfering. Rashford, by continuing his run and not stopping or veering away from the ball, he made up Ederson's mind for him that, oh, I'm going to stay because it's going to be 2-on-1 if they call Rashford onside, right?
Yeah.
If Rashford didn't make a play for it, if Rashford just stopped, Ederson would have ran and got there before Bruno. Bruno's not that
And even
fast.
Akanji as well, because
And even Akanji as well. Exactly.
Rashford was between the ball and Akanji, right? So,
and yeah, that was a prime example of why we need that. We need refs to explain what their calls are, in the game. Explain it to the people. Let us know what's happening because there's a lot of supposition, a lot of interpretation, and yeah, that's my take on it. I don't know if Eves, you have a take on it if you saw it live.
I did see it live.
Yeah.
I did see it live. For me, it was even later because I wasn't in France, so obviously it's much later for me. I mean, the game started at midnight for me, so it was really late to watch it. But listen, I thought that Manchester United played really well. To answer Josh's question, whether you're in the title race, for sure. I mean, the role of the title race is to beat the top teams, and so far you're in it. As much as I hate to say it, Man U is going to give me a hard time in a couple of weeks when I'm facing them. I did not expect that. I would have preferred if you guys are really shit, but clearly not. So, so I have to now worry. I have to really worry about a game I didn't expect to worry about in a lower tier Champions League called the Europa. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that goal to me, it was a goal. It was ruled a goal. I know it was a controversy, but for me it was a goal, hands down. What it is. I was disappointed on Haaland. Haaland was in my fantasy team and triple captain, so I was really annoyed that he didn't score, even though I didn't want
triple captain. You had no faith in United, eh?
So I vice captain Rashford. And I captain Haaland.
You hedged your bets. All right.
So I did. I hedged my bets, but I knew that Haaland, could be lethal. The guy is on a nonstop force, and I was like, okay, he's probably going to do it. He still got me points, but not enough for a triple captain. I should have triple captain Rashford, but
But I will say one thing United did very well was that they stopped Haaland receiving the ball. And that's
they did a great job in stopping Man City. No, there's no denying it. they did a fantastic job in stopping Manchester City.
Right. I mean,
in and
we
out.
talked about it, and
perfect.
we talked about. Go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying that they were really, really good. There's just nothing to say. I think from a Josh perspective, they're in the title race. Some even speculators on BBC on Sky Sports are even saying that they see Manchester sitting, second, and Man City's finished first. I actually think Arsenal will be winning the title. The way they're working, the way they're moving up, it's definitely interesting to see Manchester United completely change and trusting the process, which myself and Jeff have been saying forever. Trust the process, and it's paying off. So now Manchester United fans have to sit back and just be quiet and enjoy the road. It's just be quiet. If something happens and he loses a game, it's part of the process. You can't just go from 0 to 100. It takes time, and so far he's doing really, really well. What I would say, go ahead.
I will say two things. One, United did a fantastic job of stopping delivery to Haaland, because that's the key difference right now between the top strikers, Lewandowski and Benzema, and Haaland, is that Haaland needs service. He lacks that ability to come in, drop into the midfield and play with the midfield players or the wingers. And by stopping the delivery from Bernardo, from obviously KDB and Foden, you lose out on Haaland's abilities, his ability to be, not his abilities, but his domination of the box. The other thing, and we've talked about it, the other thing I want to caution United fans about, because we keep saying, in title race, okay, the title race, you guys are 11 points off. Was it 9 points? 11 points off of us. Is it 9? Oh, it's
no.
9.
I think it's 9 with the game.
It's
in
9
hand.
points.
Actually,
it's
no,
9
you
points.
played the game in hand.
But after this weekend, it'll end up being 12, right? So Arsenal and United both have the same issue right now, which is depth. United does not have the depth they need to take this all the way, especially when things are clicking right now and they have injury-prone players. Arsenal has a depth problem because we don't have wingers. That's why we needed the Mudryk signing. And so I'm hoping that we're able to fix that situation more on the midfield in terms of Partey and Odegaard than the wingers in terms of Martinelli and Saka. And I think that is where everything's going to fall apart for United and Arsenal in the title race. And City has a great leg over it. They have a replacement for Haaland, who is a World Cup winner, Alvarez, right? They have loads of people in the midfield. What they don't have are those fullbacks that Pep relies so heavily on to keep the field wide and create all the space in the midfield for his attacking midfield players like De Bruyne and Foden and Bernardo Silva. Foden when he plays in that role. So I just wanted to put things in perspective. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Arsenal is points ahead, and they are they have a game in hand against Newcastle. So for me, yes, it is Arsenal, United, and City for the title race. And unfortunately, there's really nobody else. I mean, Tottenham after that is 33, and they're playing City on Friday. Right at this point, based upon what happens this weekend, this whole thing could just be, the top four may not change until April. But fantastic game. Congratulations, Josh. Your team is clicking. And I just want to say the reason why your team is clicking is because of what I will talk about in the later segments when we get to Real Madrid and La Liga. Casemiro is we've been saying, how many years have I been saying this to you? You need a number 6. You don't, not Pogba. Pogba's not a 6. You need a number 6. You need somebody who's going to be able to break up the play, who's going to be able to strike fear in the midfield and strikers' hearts. And Casemiro did that. You see that tackle he did on Haaland?
Yeah.
Calling out there, it's a foul.
Yeah, that was like that was a last-ditch tackle there.
You better pay him what he wants when his contract is about to expire, because he is going to be the one that takes you into the next era of this wonderful football that Ten Hag is playing. I will admit he's playing some great football. but it's more so the confidence and belief in the team that the players have within themselves.
Yeah.
I am scared that if you lose Rashford, you don't have replacement. You lose Ericsson or Casemiro, you don't have replacement, right?
Yeah.
So
And you're right. Speaking of, the confidence in the team, I think the main this, what we've talked about the last couple, how many seasons now, is structure, a system. When you watch United play in the past, is, there were times where we got the results. We finished second in the league, but I was not confident in our performances. I wasn't confident. I just didn't see the trajectory. I didn't see what the goal was, what the plan was. But the one thing you can see with Ten Hag's United so far is structure, discipline. The players actually know, they actually understand the instructions that they're given, and you can see how it's being implemented on the field. Another great thing that structure does, which is something I've tried to explain to a lot of United fans who are so quick to just, you know, um, write off players, is when you have a lack of system, it exposes all the flaws in your players. Every player has flaws. You look at the likes from Real Madrid, Barcelona, Munich, all the European giants. When you watch them play, their players have flaws, but because they're in better systems and structures, it's paved over that, it's paved over those cracks, right? Versus United, we had no structure, we had no leadership. We kept coaches that had no business being on that seat for way too long, and this is why it went from being a theater of dreams to a theater of nightmares. That Manchester game, like, I'm not gonna say that we played some fantastic football. We just did what any team that's playing a pep team does, right? You just got to be organized. You've got to win your 50-50 duels, and just don't give, you got to know the likes of KDB. If you give KDB space, he's going to hurt you. Fred was very immense too. I think Fred did a great job at keeping KDB quiet. If you noticed, he was always next to KDB, and the one time that he wasn't next to KDB and it was somebody else's responsibility, KDB was able to run up to the wing and cross for the one goal that they scored. So that shows you the impact that Fred had in that game as well. Casemiro, I think every podcast I keep, he's a revelation. And I think since Ferguson left, I would say Casemiro has probably been, I don't want to say the best signing, but the right signing. We've signed players, we've signed, on huge contracts, but Casemiro was the one player that we actually needed, that we've got.
Oh, he was your best signing, man. I'm sorry.
Sorry?
He's your best signing, man. In the last 5 years, is definitely your best signing.
Well, the best signing one can be, that's hard to argue, right? Because we could say Bruno Fernandes, when he came in, we could argue that he was the best signing based on what he's done. We could say he was the best signing, but was he the right signing, right? I think it's the best and right are two different things. But I think, but I do get your point. I think Casemiro, at first everyone thought it was kind of like the Varane deal. Oh, he's just coming for a big payday. But you know what? It does make sense. He had won everything in Real Madrid. He's looking what's the next, because the reality is with football, everything is about timing. If he had stayed in Real Madrid one more year, now he's a year older. Now the opportunity to come to a club like United might have passed him, right? So I think he made the right decision at the right time. And when you look at it too, in the EPL, like the Premier League, there's a lot of Brazilians. Like the top 7 teams have at least 3 Brazilians on there. So it kind of made sense from a perspective of, a new challenge, a team that is still in the come up. So I'm definitely happy to see the way the team is going. In terms of depth, it's going to be difficult. Yes, we do need a striker because Martial is not performing at the moment. Rashford is on form, but I don't know how long this form is going to ride. And in the last game, we had an injury scare too. So I definitely do understand what you mean. But the one thing I can say with Ten Hag is I'm really happy with the way he's rotating the team. You know, my brother even texted me yesterday. Is like, wow, Wan-Bissaka's performance. Like, you know, this is Wan-Bissaka that we were trying to loan out, but it's showing you that, you know, look at Shaw. You know, Shaw is now playing center back. Shaw is now becoming a trusted member on the team. So you're beginning to see the entire team. You know, Bruno is having a more mature performance. So overall, as a United fan, we can't, you can't complain. We got to, a game at a time, like you've said. It's still, the season is still pretty long. So for now, all we can do is just be happy as United fans. So yeah.
Hey, speaking of happy, nobody is happy. We know all of England right now is painted red, except for except for Merseyside, and Merseyside is only painted red because Everton is
Frank Lampard,
they're non-existent at this point. But nobody is happier about what's happening in England than the Gunners. We have waited and waited and waited, trusting the process, trusting the processes, and finally vindication for the hopefully future coaching legend Mikel Arteta. And the funny thing, the last time Arsenal won the league, Arsenal won the league, it was Arteta was on the team, and so it's almost like full circle, right? It finally tying the past with the future.